With the release of Alien Romulus this year, I was really hoping we would get a lot of merch to coincide with the release of the film. And while the movie theaters did a fantastic job promoting the movie with popcorn buckets, mugs, and you name it, we didn't quite get the same treatment with the action figures. Of course, Funko got into the mix with their pop figures, and they did a pretty good job covering the characters from the film. I don't collect Funko, so it really wasn't something I was interested in. It was around the release of the film that NECA announced they were throwing their hand in the mix, and I have to say, I was a little disappointed with what they were offering. Just one figure, the Scorch Xenomorph, and the accessory pack. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy we got anything at all, but still a little let down we weren't going to be receiving any of the human characters, especially Rain Carradine and Andy. I thoroughly enjoyed what those characters brought to the Alien universe, and now that we know we're getting a sequel, I kind of feel like NECA may eventually release these two characters, or hopefully someone will, but as of right now, nothing. As some of you may know, right after the first trailer dropped, I took it upon myself to throw together a custom Rain Carradine figure. It could use a bit of tweaking now that I've seen the film. There are some adjustments I would need to make for it to be more screen accurate. But for the most part, I was really happy with how it turned out, and if I do any updates, I'll definitely post a video here at 2 Day Rentals. So today, we're going to take a look at what NECA has brought to the table in their very small Alien Romulus offering, and see how they fit into the rest of my Alien collection. I really like the packaging on both of these. The whole design gives you that retro, futuristic tech vibe, and I'd say it's a job well done. Let's first take a look at NECA's lone figure offering for the Romulus line, the Scorch Xenomorph. First and foremost, they've done a great job on this figure, for the most part, and I'll get to that in a minute. One of the first things I did was set up the figure up next to the rest of the Xenos from NECA, and this figure is what we've all come to expect from NECA. Really fantastic detail on the sculpt. It's hard for me to tell if some of the parts have been reused from previous figures. I would imagine some of them have, but also think that there are some new parts as well. Most notably, the dome on the Xenomorph's head. And this is where I have a minor complaint. Out of the box, it has the battle damage dome from the cattle prod, like we see in the film. The paint detail around the dome, to me, with that battle damage area, is just haphazardly applied. I wish they would have used the same technique they used to create the stripes on the dome. I love that detail, and it really makes this figure stand out amongst the rest. Thankfully, NECA included another dome to snap on the top that doesn't have any battle damage at all, so that's more than likely how I'll display the figure. Though, there is another option that allows you to display the figure without any dome, having the exposed skull underneath, and I think it's an incredible look. Size-wise, I think the Xeno may be slightly taller than the others, maybe a tad bulkier. It's hard to see the way that I have it displayed, but it appears to be just slightly taller, or maybe my mind's playing tricks on me. Other than that, you get several hands you can swap out and a stand for displaying the figure. All in all, I was very pleased to add this Xeno into the mix with my other figures. Though it doesn't do anything particularly groundbreaking, I do like the ability to swap out the dome on top. Like I said, the detail on it's great, the paint job for the most part's great, outside of that area around the battle damage part that initially comes with, but a good figure, neat to have a Xenomorph from Romulus to add into the mix. Again, nothing special, but a great figure nonetheless. Next we have the accessory pack, which I must say I was almost more excited for this because it does bring some different things to the table that have never been released, obviously. The set comes with the model F44AA pulse rifle, the asteroid with the fossilized Xenomorph XX121, face hugger, chest bursters, you got wired tails so you can pose them any way you want, And it also includes the cryoframe case with a face hugger that can be swapped in and out, and damaged parts so the cryo case can appear to be damaged with a face hugger bursting out of it. For my money, it was worth it just for the fossilized Xenomorph. It's incredibly detailed, and it's great to display on its own or to create different scenes with other figures like I've done here. And if you so choose, it could be hung on the wall, which I think would be a neat way to display it. It comes with a little anchor hook in the back or a hole in the back. You can anchor it to a wall and hang it that way. So a neat option if you wanted to hang it in the wall next to your collection or in your office somewhere. So a really, really cool addition to the accessory pack, the fossilized Xenomorph. I was very excited to get my hands on the F44AA pulse rifle. And it's a really neat thing that Fetty did, incorporating an earlier version of the pulse rifle into the film. And since I already did a custom Rain figure, I was thrilled to be able to place it in her hands to get a closer to screen accurate look. Like I said, now I just need to go back and maybe tweak the figure a bit more, maybe do a different head swap, I'm not quite sure. It's close, it's just not quite where I want it to be. The cryo frame case is another cool accessory. I really like the ability to change out the damaged pieces, so it gives you options to display this, play out different scenes. I think I'll definitely use this with my Kenner figures as well. I'm always looking for ways to expand and add to that line, and I think these will work well with those figures. On that note, I already have plans to construct a Kenner-style Rain and Andy figure from Romulus, so look forward to that. I'll definitely post it here on my channel once I get around to constructing those. So those are the three main things that I was really after in this set. The rest are your standard chest bursters and face huggers. There's a face hugger that goes onto a 7-inch scale figure. We've seen these things before, maybe a slight different paint job on there. I can't tell if there's much different about these, but really you can't have enough of those type things to add to your Alien collection when you're playing out scenes to photograph or to take pictures of. They're always great to have an abundance of those things. So one thing that's bittersweet about getting new figures is trying to figure out how you'll display them or where they're gonna go. And for those of you that open your figures, I'm sure you feel this pain. So I went ahead and took down all my Aliens figures so I could get some good footage of the new ones and the new accessories, and then I put them back up and I reevaluated, and I don't think it'll end up staying this way, but you know, it's just to get it back on the shelves, but it allows me a chance to maybe second guess how I want to display these. So in the meantime, I've temporarily displayed all my Predator figures on one shelf with the addition of the Scorch Xenomorph to give it that Alien vs. Predators vibes, in hopes to put the energy out there that we'll get another addition to the Alien vs. Predator franchise of films. That would be great. So I added the Scorch Xeno there to kind of add to that shelf. And the shelf above it contains most of my human figures from the Aliens franchise. This includes some custom builds that I've done using G.I. Joe classified figures, Valorverse figures, and some other 7-inch scale figures as well. So I've really expanded on the original NECA Colonial Marines line and added some other figures into the mix, just because I think there's really been a lack of support when it comes to the human characters from the film. So I've took it upon myself to add some customs. You'll see a video on my channel about that. If you haven't seen it already, go check it out. I'll be curious to see if NECA does any more figures from Romulus. You know, I would definitely buy the gnarly amalgamation that appears at the end of the film. Would you? If they did that figure, I would definitely buy it. It would be really cool if they did a Navarro figure that had a button in the back you could press, so that way the chest lights up and you could see a chest burster inside of her whenever she uses the X-ray, the handheld X-ray machine in the film. That would be awesome if they could pull that one off. Bring us some ships from the film, play sets or dioramas. You know, there's not enough of that sort of thing, so I'm definitely open for all of it if someone chose to make it. We also know that Mondo is bringing their Kenner-inspired Alien figures to the market next year. I'm definitely going to pick them up. I've heard the complaints, right? Mondo's definitely pricey. You pay a premium for their figures. With it being Aliens, it's something I'm willing to buy into. But, you know, in thinking about it and having some conversations with my viewers, I kind of feel like Super 7's Ultimates would be a perfect place for the Aliens franchise to land. I have a few of their figures, and they're fantastic. And I would love to see what Super 7's Ultimates could bring to the table for Aliens figures. You know, you could pull from the comics, you could do figures from the film. There's so much you could do, and I think that size and scale, the detail they put into those figures, the articulation, the accessories they come with, I think that Super 7 Ultimates is a perfect landing spot for the Aliens franchise. What do you guys think? So I gotta know, are you the type of collector that opens up toys or movie merchandise or collectibles when you get them? Do you keep them in the package? I, for one, open most of the things I get. There is no right or wrong, it just depends on your collection. Who would you like to see take on the Alien franchise as far as a toy manufacturer? Like I said, I think Super 7 would be ideal if they landed the franchise and could produce figures. That would be incredible. Do you plan on picking up these NECA figures? Have you already? What are your opinions? I love the conversation with all my viewers, and I can't thank each and every one of you enough for joining in the conversation. I've had great conversations with a lot of you out there, so let's keep it rocking, let's keep it rolling. If you're new here, thank you very much for stopping down and checking out this video and checking out my channel. And while you're at it, check out some of the other things that I do. I love to talk about other movies besides Aliens, though I spend a lot of time with the Aliens universe and Aliens franchise. But if it has to do with movies, movie licensed toys, movie licensed collectibles, movie licensed video games, even some music from time to time, there's a good chance I'll end up talking about it here on my channel. And it's like I always say at the end of my videos, let's be kind as we rewind and fast forward through time. Thank you so much for stopping by 2 Day Rentals.